Top of the morning to you all. Today is Friday, the 8th of January 2020. My name is Jessie Leonce, and this is the Morning Update live on NTN. I'd like to thank you so much for joining us as we just roll out the latest developments from the government of St. Lucia. Apologies for the late start. We were just experiencing some technical difficulties. Moving on with the morning, in our lead stories, the preservation of livelihoods and environment is ensured by government with the signing of a vital MOU. The governor of the ECCB says the union remains resilient in the face of adversity and celebrating St. Lucia's first centenarian for 2021. We also have an update on the COVID-19 front. We have quite a few recoveries. We'll tell you how many in just a moment, but recording one case of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. We'll also be going on with tributes to Gordon Butch Stewart, and this is an individual known as a hospitality mogul who's passed away. The tributes have been pouring in, and we'll be letting you in on the word from the government officials here in St. Lucia as to their feelings about this man who came and created vast change within the tourism sector. So stay tuned for those stories and more coming up on the other end of this break.
What does coronavirus have in common with love? Both are highly contagious. Spread love, not the virus. Like you, COVID-19 loves a lime. Beach, river, or fed. Coronavirus is like these people who track every lime just to invade. The best way to put off invaders? Cancel the lime. Spread love, not the virus. Keep you and your crew corona-free. Live to lime another day.
Together let us win this war. St. Lucia be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We begin with the morning updates of this story. The government of St. Lucia, in collaboration with the Global Environment Fund, that's from UNDP, is continuing work on the integrated ecosystem management and restoration of forest on the southeast coast of St. Lucia. We have Anicia Antoine from the Ministry of Agriculture with this report.
The Departments of Agriculture and Sustainable Development have signed a Memorandum of Understanding for the JEF 6 East Coast Southeast project. The 5-year project will focus on ecosystem management, landscape restoration, and sustainable livelihoods on the southeast coast of St. Lucia. Permanent Secretary of the Department of Agriculture, Fisheries, Natural Resources and Cooperatives, Barrymore Felicia, says the Division of Forestry will be assisting in establishing at least one marine protected area, as well as the restoration and rehabilitation of mangroves, seagrass beds and coral reefs.
Further support will also be given to farmers so that they can engage in value-added services such as agro-processing. So, within the Department of Agriculture, we have 3 critical departments that have to work collaboratively with the Department of Sustainable Development and other stakeholders, including the local community leaders and community groups, to execute and implement the project activities. So we are, at the Department of Agriculture, committed to making this project a success, and with the signing of this MOU, we wish to formalize our commitment, and we look forward to working with UNEP, Jeff, the project coordination team, to make better the lives of every St. Lucian.
Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Department of Sustainable Development says the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding marks a milestone for the JEF 6 East Coast Southeast project, as the Department of Sustainable Development continues to address the lack of integrated protection of the ecosystems on the southeast coast.
The MOU clearly outlines the roles and responsibilities of the Department of Sustainable Development and all the divisions of the Department of Agriculture. It will provide guidelines for the cooperation and collaboration between the 2 agencies. We look forward to working with the Department of Agriculture and to strengthen the collaboration between the departments under this project.
The JEF 6 East Coast Southeast project is estimated at approximately $4.4 million. From the Communications Unit of the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Anicia Antoine reporting.
Thank you, Anicia, for that report there coming from the Office of the Ministry of Agriculture's Communications Unit. We continue with news this morning with a word from the education sector. When the second school term opens on Monday, January 11th, there will be rigid guidelines for janitorial staff to follow to ensure the health and safety of all. We have the Chief Environmental Health Officer, Parker Ragnanan, indicating that a cleaning regimen has been developed by the Ministry of Health, which details when and how surface areas are to be cleaned. Just going back to the press conference which was recently held by the Ministry of Education in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Take a look.
We recommend that for cleaning and disinfecting, that there are one of two or both solutions that can be used. One is sodium hypochlorite, and that is 5,000 parts per million. Generally, you find sodium hypochlorite in household bleach, or ethyl alcohol, 70% alcohol can be used as well. And there may be areas where you cannot use bleach, but you may be able to use the alcohol, and that has to be determined as well. As far as our classrooms are concerned, we are looking at ways to improve ventilation within the classrooms, and it means that if there are windows, to try as best as possible to keep these windows open. If there are louvers, keep them open. Ensure that there is a constant exchange of air and there's adequate airflow within the classroom setting. If there are some buildings that are air conditioned, then we need to ensure that these rooms are adequately aired out.
The proper garbage disposal activities of the schools will also be supervised as well in accordance with the COVID-19 protocols.
We are asking that attention be paid for regular removal and disposal of garbage, because we recognize that some of the garbage may be a little infectious depending as to what is in there. You may have persons who dispose face masks and so forth. Therefore, we are asking for special consideration be given to the management of solid waste on the school environment and on the compound.
That was Chief Environmental Health Officer Mr. Parker Ragnanan. They're speaking on the cleaning situation for the reopening of school for this second term of the academic year 2020-2021. And just to let you know that while school will be reopening for the students on the 11th of January, that is coming Monday, the process, the ball has already been rolling on preparations for the students. The school janitors, if we're still on the same story, school janitors and cleaners were asked to report to work from December 28th to the 31st to begin and to ensure the proper sanitization of the school compound, and ensuring the place was clean and ready to accommodate not just the students for the 11th, but also the teachers and faculty, staff, administrators as well, to come in and begin the preparation for the students. So that story there, a follow-up coming off of the press conference which was held earlier this week by the Ministry of Education in the lead up to the new academic year. And while we're still on COVID-19 business, St. Lucia has recorded an additional case of COVID-19. Another person has been diagnosed. Case number 383 is a 30-year-old male non-national. Upon arrival into St. Lucia, the individual was retested and placed in quarantine awaiting receipt of his results. He has since been placed in isolation, and the Ministry of Health also did report yesterday, that was Thursday the 7th of January, 9 recoveries. So 9 individuals who were being treated, 9 more individuals have recovered from COVID-19 here in St. Lucia. And this brings the total number of active cases, individuals who are being treated right now at the hospital, to 75. So some persons are getting their Christmas, their New Year's wish coming true with that recovery there. We do wish them all the best and hope that they will, coming back into the population, they will join in this whole movement, the continued fight against COVID-19. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is continuing to encourage everyone to prioritize their health and to take actions that promote well-being. They are asking that we all remain alert and adhere to the protocols to limit the spread of COVID-19 in their latest press release. Of course, we know the routine. It is the washing of hands frequently with soap and water, and when you're not near a faucet, you can use hand sanitizer, the use of a face mask, watching your distance from others. Ensure that you maintain a 6-foot distance, that is a nice healthy distance, to ensure that we reduce the risk of transmission, any potential transmission of COVID-19 among us. We are due for another break this morning. When we come back, St. Lucia and the wider region are paying glowing tributes to the late Gordon Butch Stewart. Stay with us.
She's been watching, waiting, wondering when the sands of time will give way to a tide of change, and for yesterday and today to become a new tomorrow. For a time when her sun can kiss the cheeks of your loved one and her stars can twinkle in her honeymoon skies. When her earthly embrace will reassure and calm your soul. And her unique view can change your whole perspective. Proudly, she has risen to meet new challenges and to provide safe harbor to all who reach her shores. For her hopes and dreams still stand, shoulder to shoulder, a precious reminder of experiences yet to come. So, wherever your moments and memories take you, let her sense of adventure set you free. She is St. Lucia. Let her inspire you.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. Coming off of the break, we were just going over the COVID-19 status of the country. A total of 9 more recoveries registered yesterday, and it brings the total number of active cases in country to 75. And we also had a new case of COVID-19 being registered in the last 24 hours. It's a 30-year-old male non-national. That one positive came out of a total of 220 samples. So we had 1 positive and 290 negatives coming out of that batch of tests that were recently conducted, and that bringing the latest COVID-19 case registered here in St. Lucia. Also taking a look at the cleaning situation at the schools in the lead up to the reopening of the academic year on the 11th of January 2020-2021. And when we speak about frontliners, we usually think the police officers, the nurses, doctors, firefighters and what have you, but school janitors, school cleaners, these auxiliary staff, caretakers of the grounds of institutions as well are frontliners. They are coming into contact with potential situations that may put them at risk for COVID-19, but they are going forward to ensure that the students will be prepared for the return to school as well. And I know there are mixed reviews about the return to school, but we want to encourage everybody to adhere to the protocols and the guidance being issued by the government of St. Lucia, by government officials. They are being guided by the science, and they are moving about and trying to maneuver into this new normal as best as possible. You have some parents who perhaps would prefer to keep their kids at home for a little longer, and some parents who couldn't wait for the kids to return to the classroom. We can't imagine the multiplicity of challenges that some may be facing in terms of accommodating their kids while having full-time jobs and so on. So despite all of these circumstances, I'm just appealing to persons to adhere and just be guided by the officials who know what they're doing. They are looking at the science, they're looking at the trends, they're looking at the figures and making a determination. Of course, we can rest in the comfort that if we see a spike in cases, if there are any concerns that the experts are noticing, they will make decisions as we have seen in the past with the previous academic year, just last year into the new academic year. Decisions were made for the protection of the students and the teachers within the schools. So please take note of that. We now move on to some financial news, some economic news. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank is experiencing its largest shock on record, so says the governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, Timothy Antoine, during his Christmas address. A decline of 16.2% has been projected for the union, as governments continue to grapple with significantly lower revenues while simultaneously expending considerable sums on COVID-19 response measures. The governor, however, noted that the ECCU remains resilient in the face of this adversity.
Despite the economic and financial fallout occasioned by the pandemic, our countries have responded relatively well, and our region is thankful that we have experienced only a small number of deaths. Additionally, we are grateful to have been spared the ravages of major hurricanes. Once again, we placed on record our profound gratitude to all our frontline warriors in healthcare, together with security, border control, and essential workers, including the media.
And that was Timothy Antoine, the governor of the ECCU. The ECCB predicted, however, that the ECCU will bounce back from the current situation, building even stronger into the future. Governor Antoine also highlighted that the ECCB has specific plans for the future.
We project the ECCU will grow by 5% next year as tourism, a dominant export, slowly recovers. The ECCB will implement the Program of Action for Recovery, Resilience and Transformation approved by the Monetary Council in October. Key actions include boosting food and nutrition security, increasing our use of renewable energy, and accelerating digital transformation. The ECCB will also unveil its new 5-year strategic plan.
That was the governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Mr. Timothy Antoine. St. Lucia and the wider region are paying glowing tributes to the late Gordon Butch Stewart, who died this week. The founder of Sandals Resorts International established 3 of its 15 all-inclusive luxury Caribbean resorts in St. Lucia, employing some 2,000 island residents. Tourism officials are hailing him for his significant contribution to our vital sector. We have more in this report. Gordon Butch Stewart, the man behind the largest contribution to St. Lucia's tourism industry from the private sector, has passed on. The all-inclusive resort pioneer and founder of Sandals Resorts International died on January 4th, 2021 at age 79. Prime Minister Alan Chasney eulogized Stewart as a visionary, recalling the impact of the hotelier's business on Ireland, beginning with Sandals Regency.
He came in and he did the most remarkable job of transforming Sandals La Toc, which really was a hotel that was a beautiful hotel, but was always under-delivering. I mean, if it had a 30 or 40% occupancy, that was a lot. And Mr. Stewart transformed this completely and put St. Lucia on the map. You know, prior to Sandals coming to St. Lucia, you would spend 15 minutes trying to explain to people where St. Lucia was. Afterwards, you would go to Chicago, to Charlotte, and all these cities, and all of a sudden, because there was a Sandals in St. Lucia, people knew where St. Lucia was.
The island's tourism minister, Honorable Dominic Fede, hailed Stewart a legend who will be genuinely missed.
The world has seen Caribbean tourism in a way that Mr. Stewart has made such a significant difference. And, you know, I'm always very proud whenever I travel in global forums and I see that a homegrown Caribbean company is the world's leading all-inclusive company. It's a source of inspiration for me. And it tells us what we can do in these islands if we believe and we have the courage to fight to get what we want. And he will be thoroughly missed, very strong leader.
Recognizing the trailblazing efforts displayed by Stewart in the local sector for almost 3 decades, the St. Lucia Hospitality and Tourism Association President Carolyn Trebetskoy also offered tribute, saying, quote, "We have lost one of our most revered and respected Caribbean tourism icons. Gordon Butch Stewart was a pioneer and a perfectionist of an all-inclusive Caribbean hospitality model that other brands could never copy or come close to. The success of the brand over several decades speaks for itself. We must also thank him for his mentorship of and the countless career opportunities he created for Caribbean nationals, surpassed only by his considerable philanthropic work through the Sandals Foundation." End quote. Sandals Resorts employs approximately 2,000 individuals on island at 4 properties: Sandals Grand St. Lucian Spa and Beach Resort, Sandals Halcyon Beach Resort, Sandals Regency Golf Resort and Spa, and the Sandals Golf and Country Club.
Mrs. Stewart has no doubt contributed significantly to the development of tourism in St. Lucia. He's been here since 1990, and he operated some 800 rooms across 3 magnificent resorts, employs about 2,000 people, and create business opportunities for hundreds of small, medium, and large businesses.
On the regional front, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Commission also described Stewart as a visionary and stated that his brands gave prominence to the Caribbean with its, quote, "extensive international marketing and the extraordinarily high standards of hospitality and customer satisfaction that he defined," end quote. From Miami, Acting CEO and Director General of the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, Vanessa Ledesma, said, quote, "Our industry will forever be indebted to Butch for his continued passion for excellence and legendary Caribbean hospitality. His vision has bestowed to the global industry a Caribbean organization that adheres to the highest standards of excellence, celebrates and promotes the region's uniqueness, and invests in the development of our people and communities," end quote. Prior to his death, Stewart was reportedly working on resort chain expansions in St. Vincent and Curacao. He is survived by his wife, 7 children, 12 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. For the Government Information Service, I am Jessie Leonce reporting. That report there on the glowing tributes being issued to the late Gordon Butch Stewart, who passed away just this week. We heard from the OECS as well as the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, the St. Lucia Hospitality and Tourism Association as well, and the Prime Minister, Honorable Alan Chastney, as well as Tourism Minister, Honorable Dominic Fede. Before we take a break toward our final segment, I just want to give you an update coming from the Ministry of Education just coming in. The kindergarten registration for Castries schools have been extended. The Department of Education has extended kindergarten registration for the academic year 2021 to 2022. This has been extended for schools within the Castries Basin from January 11th to the 18th. And just to go along the list of schools, Anglican Infant, Vidbite Primary, St. Aloysius RC Boys Infant, Ave Maria Girls Infant, Camille Henry Memorial, Common Rennie Memorial, the Gordon and Walcott Memorial Methodist, and the Mondadon Primary School. So parents and guardians should snap photos of the documents that are needed and upload them as soon as possible to the website that we have provided previously. You have to put up the child's birth certificate, the immunization certificate, or the health card with the child's full 5-year assessment being completed, a passport photo, your job letter if you're applying based on your workplace, and salary details are not needed. The parent's utility bill, if you are looking to provide proof of residence if applying based on your residence. So please take note of that. The Department of Education thanks parents and guardians for their kind cooperation at this time. If you want some more information, you can call 468-5259 or 468-5258. So that's the numbers you can call if you want some more information on the extension of registration for the kindergarten students for the next academic year. Stay tuned. We have our final segment coming up right after this break.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No, think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join.
Excessive agrochemical use, additives and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
The good food revolution.
Thank you so much for staying with us. In our final segment, just want to wrap up the lead stories for the last 24 hours and also to say happy birthday to Victor Rosamond Smith, St. Lucia's latest centenarian. The Division of Human Services is celebrating him, achieving the momentous milestone of reaching his 100th birthday. Mr. Smith was born on 1st January 1921. He's the last surviving child of 10 children. He was born and raised in Salterbush, Choiseul. Mr. Smith was a farmer who was very passionate about his cows and gardening. His family shares fond memories of him, entertaining them with his folk stories and playing the guitar on rainy days in his younger days. Mr. Smith has been a resident of the St. Lucy's home for the past 10 years. He is the first centenarian at that institution, so you can imagine their excitement at that. Although he is bedridden and his speech is faint, his jovial nature remains strong. So we here also at the GIS celebrate Victor Rosamond Smith, St. Lucia's latest centenarian. Happy birthday to you, sir. Well, we've come to the end of our program for this morning, the morning update live on NTN. I want to remind you, St. Lucia has registered another case of COVID-19, but we've also reported had in the last 24 hours also 9 recoveries of the virus. So it's brought our present figures of active cases to 75 in St. Lucia. Just to go over the lead stories for today. We have the preservation of livelihoods and the environment ensured by government with the signing of a vital MOU with the UNDP, the Global Environment Fund, continuing work on the integrated ecosystem and management restoration of forest on the southeast coast of St. Lucia. We also had Mr. Parker Ragnanan coming off of the press conference held by the Ministry of Education in preparation for the new school term of the academic year, speaking to the importance of the cleaning regimen that has been instituted for janitorial staff and cleaners of the schools for this term. Also the importance of proper garbage disposal. We also had in the news this morning and in the last 24 hours, the governor of the ECCB stating that the ECCU remains resilient in the face of the adversity that it is experiencing right now in terms of the performance. A decline of 16.2% being projected for the currency union as governments continue to grapple with significantly lower revenues while simultaneously expending considerable sums on COVID-19 response measures. The governor, Timothy Antoine, did indicate that the ECCB does have strategic plans going into the future to manage this situation. And of course, we've celebrated St. Lucia's first centenarian for 2021. My name is Jessie Leon signing off for now. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for making NTN your morning station. Keep safe and continue to stay tuned to NTN for more programming from the government of St. Lucia. Goodbye.